You are now tuning in to the Roughnecks Podcast with your host, Cole Nixon. Much love.
But thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. I am your host, Cole Nixon. I'm a senior at Ohio Wesleyan University in Delaware, Ohio, majoring in business marketing with a minor in data analytics. I also play football for the Battling Bishops with a love for sports and entrepreneurship. That's why I started this podcast. I wanted to be able to share the knowledge and advice of sports figures and entrepreneurs with all of you. Just about every week, I try to bring on a guest who is viewed as a leader and motivator in the world of athletics, coaching, entrepreneurship, business, and just life in general. A new episode is released every single Monday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Don't miss Motivation Monday at the end of each episode. Be sure to follow us on Instagram at Roughnecks Podcast and Twitter at Roughnecks Pod C1. If you want to contact the Roughnecks Podcast about potential sponsorship or collaboration, then message us on social media or email at roughneckspodcast@gmail.com. Make sure you subscribe, rate, and review so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Shout out to Dante Fair for the podcast music introduction and P&H Studio for the logo. Now let's get into this week's show. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to yet another episode of the Roughnecks Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Nixon, and this is episode 29. I want to stop for a quick second and say that if you aren't following the podcast on social media, then you're missing out. Stop what you're doing. Go follow us on Instagram at Roughnecks Podcast and Twitter at Roughnecks Pod C1. If you're feeling really daring, follow myself on Twitter at Cole3Nixon10 and give the new TikTok a like or a follow or whatever you want to do. It's my personal TikTok, but I pretty much only post things about the podcast. So you'll get kind of the same content and a little behind the scenes content. I think I'm going to try and get some more stuff out to you guys and see how you guys like it. But today, actually, right before I came in here to record this, shirt orders came in and should be delivered completely by the time this episode comes out, actually. So yeah, you guys will have your shirt. If you got a shirt, do me a favor. Go share it on your social media, on your story or something, and tag me. Tag the Roughnecks Podcast on Instagram, Twitter, and whatever. I just help get the word out there about this podcast. And I appreciate that if you do that. You don't have to. Not a big deal. I want to get this podcast to as many people as possible to spread other people's messages and lessons learned that they've gone through and stuff like that. So I have some things in the works, already ordered some things and working on a few minor details, but should have a summer launch coming in May. I just about have everything in order, but I'm just so freaking pumped. There's some cool shit lined up. I want to get out to y'all, and I'm not doing this for money. You'll learn more about that later when I make the announcement about the summer launch. But let's move on to today's episode. We are a good 5 days into April, or will be by the time this episode comes out. It's not even April yet, technically, when I'm recording this. It's the 31st, but we had some great guests last month, and I'm going to point out kind of the key things that I personally learned from them. You know, they discussed mindset with me, and episode 25 was Lindsay Kara-Stenzel. And the thing that really stuck out to me, and it was something that I needed at that point in time that I didn't realize I needed. That's what's crazy is she didn't know it either. And but at the end of the day, she said, this is what she's the thing that she said that stuck out to me. And she said, at the end of the day, the only person you can count on is yourself. And that is truly important. And because, you can't rely on other people for your own happiness. Yes, they can help. You can't rely on other people to get things done. You can really that is the one person that you will forever be able to count on. And so that's something to keep in mind. Jerry Harper in episode 26, his glow stick analogy is something I had never heard before, but will never forget. he said, you got to think about life is like a glow stick, in order for that glow stick to shine, in order for it to do what it's supposed to do, it has to be broken. And the cool thing about it is like, you don't break a glow stick once. If you break a glow stick once, you get a little shine. The more you break it, the more it shines. Think about that as life. Like, it's the whole thing, like almost like grab the bull by the horns and take control. But like, you are going to get broken, and that's okay. Just realize that those times when you feel broken, when things don't go your way, that's what's going to help you glow even more. That's going to help you grow and learn and be better. So don't ever forget that. And then we can move on to episode 27 with Corey Hare. His episode honestly has changed me personally. It's helped me. He said Monday sets the tone. And I love that. I love that because, you can take that. All right, Monday sets the tone for the week. Then you can take that even to a little more like smaller section and say, you know what? My morning, first thing I do when I wake up sets my tone for my day. You can't forget that either. Like, yes, it's important to set the tone for the week. You also have to take things day by day. You set the tone with whatever you do in the morning. And I'm going to discuss that a little bit later on, kind of like what I personally do. And I discussed that in Chris Bonner's episode, which we're going to talk about next. But set the tone right for your day. What kind of day do you want to have? Nobody wants to have a bad day. Bad things are going to happen. But if you set your mindset right from the jump, right from when you wake up, you know what? Today's going to be a good day. Even if things go wrong, today's still going to be a good day. You're bound to have a good day, a good week, a good month, a good year, a good life. It just snowball effect almost. Moving on to episode 28 with Chris Bonner, Callous Our Minds. I love this episode. And, I love Chris Bonner. I'm so glad that he came back on for his second episode. He's a great person to talk about mindset with. And, we talked about it. Like, we'd be lying if we said we have the perfect mindset all the time. Nobody has the perfect mindset all the time. It's hard to do. But the thing too is a mindset takes time to develop. That's the whole callous our minds and keep pushing and keep working at it and don't give up, which leads me to our next topic for the month of April. The topic this month is the idea of commitment. Now, I don't, you hear commitment and you might think, oh, he's going to talk about relationship and da-da-da. I mean, yeah, that's part of commitment, but that's not what I want to talk about it necessarily. I mean, yeah, it's going to come up, but I mean, that's part of commitment. Commitment does mean, in relationships and to friends, to family, to significant others, whatever you want to call it. But I want to remind you where we were going with this before I dive too far into this. We have these monthly topics in mind, and we stole that somewhat from the Winner's Manual, the book by Jim Tressel, somewhat from the Champion's Manual, which is what Coach Tom Watts uses here at Ohio Wesleyan. It's a great thing. If you haven't read the Winner's Manual, please go read it. If you don't know what the Winner's Manual or Champion's Manual is, like, just look it up and you'll figure it out. It's awesome. I've personally learned a lot from it lately, especially. And the idea, though, is that we go through this course of the year and we're putting together a puzzle. Now, am I putting the puzzle together right, like the correct way? Probably not. But is there a correct way to put together a puzzle? I mean, yes, there's only one way that a puzzle can come together, but you can do different sections first. When I do a puzzle, I'd put the border together and then I do the inside. And I do section by section. And that, some people might not do it like that. Some people, even if they do the border first, they might not do, this section first. They might do a different section first. And there's no right way to do things. Everybody has their own way, but we're telling a story with this like puzzle in a way. January, we had inspiration. February, we had passion. March, we had mindset and attitude. And then now in April, we got commitment. So everything starts with an inspiration. Something inspired you. Something inspired me to do this podcast. I'll just take you through my podcast journey in a way. Something inspired me to do this podcast. And honestly, it was class. I had a class here at Ohio Wesleyan, a marketing class. I had to make a podcast. Like, you just had to make one episode. And then that kind of sparked my interest for podcasting. And, I didn't really get too much into it until last year, and I feel like that's when my passion grew. And that's what's next, in my opinion. My passion grew for podcasting when I first started Fan Speak Sports, which was a failure of a podcast. I'm not gonna lie, it was a failure. Does it define me? No, but it was a failure. And that's the thing right there, is that passion grew, and my mindset and attitude towards this grew. I could have easily, after that failure, been like, yeah, all right, whatever. It didn't work out. No big deal. Nobody likes it. Nah, I came back and started another one. Sorry for some of you who probably don't want me to start another podcast, but I did. And that my mindset was, you know what? There's a lot of messages out there and stories that people should hear. I want people to learn from this. My mindset is I am trying to help as many people as possible learn. I am learning while I'm doing it. I am growing as I'm doing it. And I hope you are too. That is my goal of this podcast. And you know what? Then I said, all right, I'm committed to this. I didn't just do a couple episodes. No, I am 29 straight weeks into this. Now, all right, let's go into commitment as a whole, though. So, it's pretty self-explanatory, though, right? Yeah, you just say you're going to do something, you do it. Yeah, commitment's something you see all the time with sports. Yeah, I'm using another sports talk again. If you haven't learned by now, I love sports. I love sports, and I love entrepreneurship, and I love podcasting and family, blah, blah, blah. But I'm going to use something that is so general, but it brings up a good point. And you see high school athletes all the time, I'm committed to go play here. The word commit is literally used to say they're going to play such and such sport at so-and-so school. But some of them never truly commit. We can all say it, but some people don't truly commit. I came here to Ohio Wesleyan with a giant class of freshmen. Like, we had like 60 of us. Yeah, we literally had 60 freshmen, and I did count. I went back and looked at the roster. We had, I think it was 59 to be exact. But fast forward 4 years later, I'm a senior here, and there's 14 of us left. And one of them was a transfer, so he wasn't even a part of the original 60 guys. So really, 13 of us are left. Think about that. 40 plus guys failed to commit. They said, I'm committing to play football at Ohio Wesleyan. I'm committed to spending my next 4 years at Ohio Wesleyan. Some of them are still here. I will say some of them are still here. They're just not playing football. And things happen. I know that certain issues that didn't allow people to come back or to continue playing football, like an injury or family matters or money, and it wasn't all of them, but some of them was grades. Some of them failed to commit in the classroom. Some just truly didn't want to commit to playing football. And I listened to this video when I was kind of like writing up what I wanted to talk about for today, and I'll put the video in the description and you'll hear more about it later. It was something that stuck out to me. He said, I think it was Inky Johnson, and he said, everybody wants the prize, but nobody loves the process. Everybody wants to be a champion, but no one's willing to put in the work that it takes to be a champion. Everyone wants to hold up the trophy and say, man, I did it, but no one's willing to put in the work that it takes to do it. Some people say they're committing to something, but never truly commit. I'm guilty of that myself. Man, I've said I'm committing to quitting dip. Yes, I'm a dipper, but we'll get also to that more later. I'm committed to quitting that, and I haven't. Or, I'm committed to waking up early. I'm not. I'm working on it. I'm trying. My alarm goes off. I gotta quit hitting snooze and quit turning it off. I just got to get my ass out of bed. We are all guilty of it. We all do it, but we got to stop. Those 40 or so guys who committed to play football here didn't truly commit. They quit. They gave up. This isn't a knock to any of those guys. I love some of you guys. I'm still friends with them, but it's the truth. Things got hard. Commitment isn't easy. Whether you're in a sport, a relationship, a job, or anything, things are not going to be easy. Life is not easy. Life's like a fucking bowl. It will throw you to the fucking ground. This brings me back to my favorite quote of all time, the whole Rocky quote. And let me tell you something that you already know. The world ain't all sunshine and rainbows. It's a very mean and nasty place. And I don't care how tough you are, it will beat you to your knees and keep you there permanently if you let it. You, me, or nobody is going to hit as hard as life. But it ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. When things get hard, most of us start looking for something or someone to blame. I've done it. We've all done it. But we can't do that. Only you are in control of your life. Only you can grab the fucking bull by the damn horns and control it. We all have commitments in our life. What are you going to do when things get hard? Just give up and quit? Fuck that. If you made a commitment to someone, you don't quit when things get hard. If you made a commitment to a team, you don't quit when things get hard. If you made a commitment to meet someone at a certain time, you don't make excuses for why you were late. You were late because you didn't value that commitment. And I love Jocko Willink, and he recently posted something on his Instagram that that man is built different. He is that Jocko. If you don't know who Jocko is, just he makes me feel like shit because he posts picture of his watch every morning at 4:50 or whatever, 4 or 5 in the morning doing a workout. But he posted and this is what he said. He goes, "So travel day today. Had to get up early. Had to get on a plane. Had to fly back. Change flights. Get back to my house. Unpacked. Had some online meetings. Didn't have time to work out. Didn't have time." Guess what? That's the way life is. You don't have enough time. You got to make time. If you made a commitment, say you committed to someone to say, all right, I'll meet you here at 3:00. And then something comes up. Oh, sorry, I can't meet you anymore. You made that commitment. You make that time. You make that time. I know there is going to be certain situations. Do not get me wrong. A family matter. Like things do come up. I do understand that. I'm not saying this works for every single situation. But don't give me bullshit excuses for why you can't commit to something because of this or that, or why you failed to commit because of this or that. Shit's going to happen, and I understand that. But if you make a commitment, stick to it. Don't make excuses for why you can't. I'm going to have someone on the podcast this month to discuss this topic, commitment, and it works out great because he wakes up every morning. I'm pretty sure he lifts it he's at the gym at 5 a.m. And there's a reason he is so successful at what he does. He committed to his life he committed his life to this, and look at what he's doing. You'll see next week, I believe. We all have to do that. And that's why I'm going to challenge each and every one of you right now to make a commitment. It doesn't have to be super major. I'm going to make one with y'all. I talked about it a little earlier, but now my commitment is this. For 30 days, we're going to call it the Roughnecks 30-Day Challenge, whatever you want to call it. And make it your own though. Make 3 or 4 things that you want to get done, like you want, or, I want to lose 10 pounds or this or that. Make a commitment right now and stick to it. My commitment is this. I'm not dipping for 30 days at least. This is the start of me quitting chew completely. No dip, 30 days at least. 1 month at a time. Gallon of water every single day. That should be everybody's goal. I don't care who you are. That should be your goal. Read 10 pages of a book every single day. At least. I read more than 10 pages, but on my busy days, I wake up in the morning and I want to get at least 10 pages in, because then, you're growing. 10 pages can set you forward. 10 pages a day can do so many things. It's crazy. I talked about it last episode with Chris, how I've been journaling. I want to journal every single day, every single morning. And, my journal is pretty simple. I write 3 things I'm grateful for. I write my purpose in life. And I write 1 goal I want to get for the day. I did just recently add something going off of Corey Hare's episode. I added a set the tone section is what I call it. But basically, it's almost a motivational quote or like something to get me fired up in a way for the day. If you really want to take this to the next level, and especially if you're like into fitness, there's a 75-day commitment that I can give you to help improve your life. And it's called the 75-Day Hard Challenge. Look it up and you can find it. It's Andy Frisella, first form. It's crazy. A friend of mine, Marshall, did it. He went through with it and he did see a difference. It works, man. And it's 75 straight days of 2 45-minute workouts. 1 must be outside. read 10 pages, 1 gallon of water, follow a diet, no alcohol or cheat meals, and a progress pic. And, going back to the whole excuses thing, there's something on his website that I want to kind of point out, because it says, I'm still not sure, because like they're not sure of doing this. And it says, I'll start when I'm ready. And Andy says, that, my friend, is your entire problem in life. You wait for the perfect time. You wait for the stars to align with Mercury or something else crazy like that. The point is, you wait and you don't do. Allow me to let you in a little secret. There's never a perfect time. The stars will never align. You'll never be ready. That's the point of 75 Hard, to develop toughness so that no matter what happens in your life, you have a mental fortitude to deal with it. So start, execute. What happens if I fail? It's simple. You start over on day 1. It seems like this would be too difficult to sustain. Exactly. That's the fucking point. You don't achieve what I'm talking about by doing the program just a few days, a few weeks. I made this program 75 days because that is how long it will take to develop these skills that will stick with you long after you've completed this program. This is what happens when you make commitments and you have to stick with them longer than a couple days or a couple weeks. My 30-day challenge is really a 2-month challenge, at least. There's literally so many. Just go look on his website and you'll see. But everybody has excuses. Stop making fucking excuses. Commit to something right fucking now. If you're making a commitment and you want to, message me. Tell me what it is. I will hold you accountable. But just like Lindsay Carasnitzel said in episode 25, at the end of the day, the only person that you can rely on is yourself. You have to hold yourself accountable. When things get hard, don't make fucking excuses. Remember that you made a commitment, and this will better your life. I think we'll both be happy with the outcome. If you keep working, because when you truly commit to something, the only thing that can stop you is yourself. Make the commitment, grab that bull by the fucking horns and take control. But now that my rant is over, I was a little fired up. I'm fired up about this month, man. Today's been a very good day for me personally, so I've got just a lot of excitement, and that's what I want this podcast to be, is exciting, and I want it to motivate you. I'm not saying I'm a motivational speaker, by no means am I that. But now it's time for Motivation Monday. I'm not actually going to talk during this week's Motivation Monday. Instead, I have a short video. It's like 3 minutes, and it's a motivational. It's not my video. It's not my audio. I got it off YouTube, and it's titled "Commitment: Best Motivational Video." It's Ben Scott is the owner of the video, not myself. But here it is. I just want you to listen to it and see what it like. Watching this just made me want to be better. So here we go.
Everybody wants the prize, but nobody loves the process. Everybody wants to be a champion, but nobody's willing to put in the work that it takes to be a champion. Everybody wants to hold up the trophy and say, man, I did it, but nobody's willing to put in the work that it takes to do it. I love the process. I love the thought of working for what I want. And I firmly believe you're never supposed to wish for it more than you're willing to work for it. Your expectations never supposed to exceed your effort. But a lot of people, they wish, and they're not willing to work. And the great thing about life has a funny way of testing all of us and seeing how bad we really want what it is that we say we want.
What if you get weak along the way and you throw in a towel on yourself, you surrender to your emotions? What then? A lot of people become discouraged, they become frustrated, and they say, oh, what the heck? And they go back to doing what they were doing before, saying it doesn't work.
Take quitting out your vocabulary. Take it out. Cry if you must. Rest if you must. But the worst thing you can do is quit. When you want something bad, you can't count the cost, because if you count the cost and you see how much it costs, you might give up. So you got to go in knowing that I don't count the cost. I do as many reps as it takes. I study as long as it takes. I pay whatever the price is. You get to a point when you don't count it. You just do whatever it takes to get whatever you want.
put yourself in a position where you can't retreat, where it's do or die, sink or swim. Here's what you'll find out. You'll develop incredible swimming skills. You'll find yourself stroking unlike you've ever seen before. Through the inspiration of desperation, you'll become more creative than ever before. Throw your whole self into it. So as we look at the future, we can decide that from this day forward, as I look at all the dimensions of my life, looking at myself mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, I'm going to do all I can do to develop me.
When you leave, what you fighting for? What's your legacy? What you gonna do? You say you a champ, but do you practice like a champ? You say you a champ, do you fight like a champ? You say you a champ, do you have the mentality of a champ?
The universe responds to the man or woman that refuses to be denied. You've got to be willing to stand there and face disappointment, not have support, doubt yourself sometimes, be rejected again and again and again, and refuse to turn around until life gives it up. Nothing can resist a person that has that kind of commitment.
I love the part where, they said, I firmly believe that you're never supposed to wish for it more than you're willing to work for it. Your expectations are never supposed to exceed our effort. If you want something, go get it. Don't just hope it comes to you. Go fucking get it. Go take what's yours. Because life is going to test us. And it'll say, all right, if you want this, you better earn it. Life isn't going to give us anything for free. Things are going to get hard. You could quit. But then what? You could, you might get pissed. You might get, why am I doing this anymore? This doesn't even work. You can't quit. Like, I loved what's his name said about, you got to take quitting out of your vocabulary. You can't quit. Fight through it. You got to take a day off, do it. But you don't quit. You got to do whatever it takes to get what you want. Don't ever back down. It's do or die, sink or swim. And you'll find out, like they said in the video, you'll develop incredible swimming skills. Or you're going to become a damn good bull rider, right? Put everything you have into your commitments because your future is going to be brighter if you do that. You look at some of the most successful athletes, the most successful people in the world. They made a commitment to whatever it is. LeBron James, Muhammad Ali, even Conor McGregor, if you want to throw him out there, and you could throw in so many. I'm using fighting people because that's just what I think of in commitment, because commitment is a fight. It is a hard fight. But you can't give up on that fight. Those people, they never gave up. They committed. And here's my thing too that you have to keep in mind. I have this motivational app on my phone. It's called literally Motivational app. But you can get it, customize it you'll get a notification on your phone, and it'll just be a little quote. And I personally like it. I'm not sponsored. Would love to be sponsored. That'd be sweet. But, we got one that actually came up today, right? 2 hours before I was getting ready to come record. And it says, this is something you really have to keep in mind with commitment though, because commitment means staying loyal to what you said you were going to do after the mood you said it has left you. Don't let the bad days take the commitment away from you. We've all talked about, you've heard it before, it's hard to go to the gym on those days when you're just tired, when you don't want to, but you made a commitment, I want to lose such and such weight. You can rest, but don't quit. But that's the thing about taking that rest. Sometimes, you take that one day of rest and that leads to another day. Oh, that was easy to do. It's easy to quit. It's hard to commit and fight. But with that, that's a wrap on episode 29 of the Roughnecks podcast. Before we go, I do want to, just kind of inform you on who we have this month so you guys know who I got lined up. But I got some good ones lined up. I'm working with next week's guest, getting him scheduled right now, actually, at this moment. But I got Corey Gregory. Now, I'm freaking pumped about this one. I'm jacked. This man, he has done so many successful things. He's worked with multiple different, fitness companies, but he's friends with Arnold. Like, he goes to Arnold's house and hangs out with him on holidays and stuff. Like, if you haven't heard of Old School Gym, go look it up. Now it is shutting down, but we'll get into that. But Corey Gregory is a legend in the world of fitness, and like, he's a great guy. And, he's from my hometown. Well, like, his gym is in my hometown. Asked him to be on. He's coming on. I'm super pumped about that one. We also got Justin Lowry, who was a Ohio Wesleyan graduate, played football with him here. He's a former teammate. He asked me to come on, and you know what? I think he's got something to offer, so we're going to have him on as well. And then we got Ben Warden, another person who has to be on, another Ohio Wesleyan guy, currently playing for us at Ohio Wesleyan. He's our long snapper, but, he's a great guy. He's funny. He's going to have a good episode. I just landed a huge guest today. Do not know when I'll be having him on, but I'm telling you, there is something big coming for this podcast very, very soon. It's almost like a dream come true for me. But so be sure to stay in tune these next few weeks to hear what they have to say and, the big announcement that I got. But follow us. So you can do that by following us on Instagram at Roughnecks Podcast and Twitter at Roughnecks Pod C1 to stay in the loop with what's going on. If you like today's episode, rate and review and then subscribe so you don't miss any of our future episodes. Grab that fucking bull by the horns, man. Take control of your life, commit to something, and don't give up when shit gets hard. Keep fighting, keep pushing. Dreams without goals are just dreams. Commit to those dreams to make them your goals. Grab that bull by the horns. But until next week, Roughnecks out.
Oh, thank you.